Hey everyone, I'm Juliette.
And I'm Karl.
And this is the Visionary Podcast,
where we talk all things eyes.
Whether it's eyewear fashion from our collection Nurilens or trending eye health phenomena, we cover some of the things that people might not think about related to their eyes, but should.
We'll explore hot topics in the world of eye health, talk to professionals in the field, and share stories of real people with real life experiences.
We invite you to join us as visionaries looking toward a future with a clear view. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 5 of the Visionary Podcast in season 2. I am Dr. Juliette Nelson, and I'm here with my co-host, Karl Florestal, who is also my VP and the Applicant Director at Nurilens. I know we have been away for quite some time. We recorded and posted episode 4, and we've kind of been in hiding. So we want to kind of catch you up on some of the things that we've been up to, and wrap up our season, review and wrap up our season. Also share with you what you should be looking forward to in season 3. Karl, what's up?
What's up, Julia? It's been a while, right? I feel like we talk all the time, but we're not in this space, at least. We haven't really been here, but we're going to try to be more consistent going forward. Season 3? Correct?
Yes, season 3.
So, but I don't know, Julia, what have we been up to? Like,
you asked me like we haven't been up to the same thing. I mean, I will say, and I said this in the beginning of the year, I wanted us to work on building sustainability. So we've really been in the background trying to streamline some of our processes. It's been a lot of planning, a lot of going back and forth, trying to identify some of the gaps that we've had and some of the challenges that we had in the past 2 years leading up to year 2, to see how we can address them and improve the customer experience. It's been a lot of learning, having to come from last year and slow down significantly so that we could really understand how to improve things for our customers. So we thank our customers who've been so patient with us, even during this process, as we kind of move things around and learn and build and grow. But we are really looking forward to what that's going to look like for us in year 3. We celebrate our 3-year anniversary November 10th. So, we encourage you to look forward to whatever we have coming up. So
yeah, we got some things coming up. We won't give away, any details, but that's kind of a part of the absence, right? We've been working on preparing some things for year 3. So we expect year 3 to be a very big year for us. So keep, to all our followers, our listeners, our customers, our supporters, just keep an eye out. We got some things.
For sure. And in the meantime, we have been popping up, especially throughout the DMV in New York City. 2 of the more notable ones we could really talk about is first and foremost the Black Excellence Expo that we did on Juneteenth, that was hosted by Extraordinary Investment Group. We also had a chance to speak on their podcast, which was really nice. So thank you all for hosting us. And then we also went to CurlFest in July, which was really, really nice. It's just a celebration of all things Black, just like last year when we went to Afropunk, Black beauty. And it wasn't limited to gender, right? You were able to see just a beautiful self-expression in the scorching heat. What was that, bro? What was that?
That was an experience. It
was disrespectful heat.
Once my body like got used to the heat, I was able to take in really what was going on. I know CurlFest, they hadn't had it in a couple of years, but that's experience. That's you can just tell everyone comes with good vibes.
It's a vibe,
What come as you are, you know what I'm saying? It's a nice space. I love the energy. I love the people. They had us in the middle of a field in New York City, over the water. It was just it was insane. It was insane. So
and got us out in time before the rain started. So we appreciate y'all, CurlFest.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, that's the one.
Because we've had quite the weather this year.
Yeah. But the pop-ups, I feel like it's nice to definitely do newer, different pop-ups, not newer, but different, right? Just to see I had never thought I would end up at a CurlFest. I don't know. I mean, I have curls, but like it wasn't something that like I thought would be my.
And I did tell Carl, I said, you need to show up with your afro at
Yeah.
CurlFest.
Listen, you still had your purple and blue,
Mhm.
and so it was a good experience. I do want to say I saw that we posted an unboxing, right? We posted an
Yeah.
unboxing recently, and I was like, where do I know this person? Right. And then it hit me. I saw her. She was one of our customers at a pop-up on Juneteenth.
Oh,
Yeah, she was in Juneteenth in New York City. That pop-up we did, I think it was in Brooklyn.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, she
Yes.
purchased those rings. And the things she said in that video, like were literally the things that like sold her. So shout out to her. I wish I had her Instagram
Wow.
and her name, but shout out to her. We can make
Wow.
something then. But yeah, like she was like, oh my God, there's a Bible verse on here. And I believe her husband's a pastor. So that's how she
Wow.
convinced
Okay.
that's how she convinced her husband to buy the pair. She was selling it to him, really.
Wow.
She
You know
was
what's
selling it to him.
interesting to me? It's interesting the different things that draw people to make a
Mhm.
purchase. I think
Yeah,
that's what I've learned and how I've had to try to learn to adjust in terms of communicating and sharing our story and sharing our brand to our
yeah,
customers. I know at ProFest, I think they saw the three of us and they're just touching the products or trying them on and oh okay this is cute, and then I mentioned I'm the owner, I'm Dr. Nelson, and he's like, oh, a Black woman is the owner and you a
yeah.
doctor. He's like, you should have started with that, and that's what led to the purchase. Whereas
Mhm.
for other people, it's hearing that the brand, the frames are named after a country where they're from.
Yes,
For some
yes,
of them,
yeah,
it's knowing that they can get their prescription filled, right? So people who
yep,
spend thousands of dollars on one pair, on a luxury pair of frames, and they have to pay a lot of hundreds of dollars for their lens. Them knowing that they don't have to spend exponential amounts with us, that's what leads them to make the purchase. And for some, it's having that motivational quote or that Bible verse on the case. And I know when I put it on there, it's a part of who I am, but it really speaks to anybody, whether you're Christian, Buddhist, whatever. The verse says, write the vision, make it plain. Even if the vision seems far away, don't worry, because it's going to happen at an appointed time. And it just reminds us that, like, when you're working toward your goals, when you're working toward your dreams, when you're working toward whatever vision you have, it belongs to you. It doesn't change, right? So it might look different in different spaces, but you're still going to walk in that purpose. So that really makes me happy to hear that someone did notice, and that's what kind of drew them in. Okay,
her
so
name is Danielle Hamilton. I just looked it up, just so you know. Shout
Danielle,
out
yes,
her.
yes.
Yeah,
And
shout out
thank you
her.
for
She did.
supporting our small
Um,
business.
I agree. I agree. She did a better
And
review than I could have.
right. And speaking of which, it is Black Business Month. So even on top of that, we do want to thank all of our customers who support us. And again, who've been so patient with us this year as we've been trying to improve our processes, move things around, shift some of our operations around. We thank you all immensely for your support. Running a small business is not easy. I, for one, have more than one. So it is not an easy task. It's not an easy feat. Sometimes you have highs, sometimes you have lows, sometimes you're right in the middle, and you're not always able to anticipate
Yeah,
what the business is going to give you. You can come off, a high couple of months, and then the next couple of months are completely dry
yeah,
as a
yeah,
desert, and you can come from dry as a desert to, oh my goodness, where did this influx come from?
yeah.
So
So
of
much that
course,
we don't feel like we're ready for it sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So that's
right, right.
like,
And that's one thing that we've been focusing on, right? What is the little bit we can do to make sure that, if we do get an influx, right, we are able to handle it, right? The customer experience can still continue, operations can still continue. We're not constantly sitting in a backlog where customers are here waiting for months for their orders to be processed. So, those are things that we don't want to wait until New Orleans is a little bigger. And I'm speaking that into the atmosphere, as some folks say, but we don't want to wait until New Orleans is bigger to now start saying, okay, how do we streamline some of our processes? We want to do it now that we're smaller, because of course the customer experience still matters to us even while we're smaller. So again, we thank everyone for supporting us, for rocking with us, and so on and so forth. And I do apologize. I'm fighting allergies today, and sometimes it feels like every day. So we're gonna make it. All right. So moving along, this is our last episode of the season. We had 4 amazing episodes, and this is our last one until we launch season 3 on our 3-year anniversary, which is going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. As we said, we're going to really work to ensure that we have a consistent flow of episodes for you guys. So let's kind of talk through a review of the season. Season 1, it was New Year, New You. I believe that was Braille. We recognized Braille, and we had an interesting conversation about musicians and how they use Braille. So that was really cool. And it jogs my brain on how other people use Braille, whether it's in sports, whether it's just something else, besides like your day-to-day, you going to the bank or things like that. It would be very interesting to learn how Braille is used in different ways. And then episode 2 was glaucoma awareness. And we had our first visionary, future doctor, Rebecca Meerville.
Yeah, she was on, and she kind of spoke to the disparities in the African American community, and just like the general lack of awareness that they have in the eye space, in the eye field, right? So a lot of the times they end up being diagnosed with these diseases that are very progressive. If they had checked in earlier, they could have prevented a lot of the side effects. So it was a great conversation. I feel like I learned a lot. So I know you definitely learned a lot, just because
absolutely.
Yeah. So definitely go back and watch that. She had some good gems that I think kind of opened my eyes to some things too. And we are still human. Like, I do need to still go get my eyes checked, but let
me tell y'all this. When it comes to the 3-year anniversary, y'all need to hold us accountable. I've been looking to schedule my eye exam. I just haven't had the time, but that's not an excuse, and we're going to talk about why, because it's so ironic we're talking about that, but we're going to talk about why. We owe you all a report on our eye exam, because Karl talking about he had dry eye in the beginning of the year, and y'all know my lens is like, it should be thick as a block, but Nuri Lens offers high index frames, so we don't have those problems over here.
But not here.
Say that again.
You might have those problems somewhere else, but not here. That's what I'm saying.
Not here. But yes, we do wish future Dr. Rebecca, all the best. We don't know if this is matching season for her, but we are so excited to see how much more impact you're going to have in the field. Like us, she identifies as Haitian American, so we are very much looking forward to seeing all the great things that she does. Okay, episode 3. We spoke about Black excellence in eye care, recognizing this was Black History Month, so recognizing the excellence in Black hair, and that's one of the things that we've been really working on this year as well. How do we address the issues with representation in the field? I've mentioned this in the past. I am not a doctor in optometry or ophthalmology. I am a doctor in industrial and organizational psychology. And so a lot of my work and my research covers the workplace, right? And so that's something that piqued my interest, seeing that we are not as represented in these spaces, but it's so critical, right? I'm even looking at my experience, right? If I knew I had a Black doctor, and I realized that I hate to say it, I'm more consistent with the doctors that I actually identify with, either responding to them, either making sure I schedule my annual appointment or my recurring appointment with them, my Black care specialist, because in a sense, like you kind of know that you identify with that experience in a sense, and you know that you can experience a higher level of care. It is not to say others won't, right? But I guess there's this level of comfort that you feel knowing that your physician, your eye doctor, looks just like you.
Yeah.
So that is something at Newrylands that we really want to emphasize, the importance of us showing up in these spaces, in, you know, the Black owned eyewear space, showing up in optometry and ophthalmology, in opticianry, in sales. We want to see more of us. That representation is so important.
It validates your experience, right? Like
Yes.
going in those spaces and seeing people that look like you, they understand the background, they understand your history, and they make you feel more comfortable, right? You're gonna want to go back
Right.
because, you know, like I had a great time talking to a Black ophthalmologist and discussing this, that, and whatever, and he understands my background. He understands the things that affect communities that look like him or look like me, you know. So we can kind of share in that bond, and I think that kind of makes everyone more interested in going back, right? So I think that's
Right.
the
Okay. And so moving from there, we went to episode 4, which was a fun episode. We spoke about age-related macular degeneration, and we learned quite a lot about that. I think one of the highlights was knowing that when they check you, you get a needle.
doesn't ever really cure it. It's more a maintenance thing. So like you're going in for these projections every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks.
When you say injections, where are the injections?
Injections. They're injections into your eye.
Wait, let's start from the top. Not your eyeball.
Yes, that's what I said. Your eyeball.
Inserted in your eyes at the anesthesia or something.
In the clinic that I was primarily at, they were doing Avastins, which is a medication that kind of helps to stabilize the retina. So with age-related macular degeneration, the macula, which is like the central portion of your retina, where your vision is kind of focused, it begins to, so you lose a lot of like important vision, right? Starting to collapse. Right. That medication kind of helps to stabilize that. But in order to get it to the back of the eye, of course, requires a needle. So it's something that I think, I mean, be it, I've never had it done, but the people that I've spoken to about it, they'll tell you it probably looks a lot worse than it feels. Not to say it feels great, but it looks insane. It's like, it's very intense. Like the doctor will say, "Hey, stay still, okay, all right," and then it's like a pop.
I don't even like needles. I can't even handle it.
And he has the doctors that I see doing them, the more experienced ones, they know the spot in the sclera, the white of the eye, the exact location that it needs to go, because you have to obviously, you don't want it to go in the center of their eye, you don't want to go through their iris, so they find the location. Some doctors kind of mark it first, but it's an interesting procedure that you see done, that and they just pop that needle in, and then they pump the medicine in, and that's it, and they're on their way. And for some people, it's not a cure, right? It's more like a stabilizer, treatment, right? So it helps you maintain your vision for a specific amount of time. But you can see those same patients, they come in every 3 weeks to get another shot. And sometimes it's both eyes, sometimes it's one.
Bless them.
Shout out to them, because yeah, like I don't ever end up there.
I couldn't do it.
But if I do, I hope I can go through it as well as they do.
Right. Shout out to y'all. To y'all. My intense reaction is really because I am terrified of needles. Yeah. I know exactly where my veins are on the one arm, and those are the only places I allow people to draw blood. So really, my nurses, shout out to them. Tell you anyway. Okay, so episode 5, and then we'll go to our break. Eye health is wealth. Now, really quickly, before we go to episode 5, we also spoke drunk vision in episode 4, which was very interesting. One of our Newry letters, speaking about how when he got drunk, his wife reported that like he had a wandering eye. So there was a lot to learn from that.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, right, it was just like whenever he's intoxicated, his one of his eyes kind of like shifts off, right?
Right,
So you kind of have to look at like the full body and the full work, the framework of it, right? Like when you're
right,
intoxicated, you're impairing your brain's ability to process things, right? And you're kind of
right,
lowering your awareness, you're heightening you're more excited, but other things, you're changing the dials a little bit, right? Of your whole
right,
system.
right.
And it looks like it resulted in his eye kind of drifting off. I don't know if that's something he ever got checked out, or I mean, I don't think he's going to the eye doctor drunk, to be fair, right? So like
Right. We
this
hope you're
might
not.
this might not be something he ever like they would ever catch. But I
Right,
think it brings up a good point of like we have to look out for each other too, right? Like
right,
if you notice, Juliette, that like, hey Carl, looks like you got a pop blood vessel in that left eye.
right.
Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I might not notice it,
Accountability.
but you can
Right,
kind of push me to go get checked out. So
right.
I hope he's been seen for that.
We hope you're doing well and you're going to get your eyes checked.
Yeah. No, definitely. Go get your eyes checked. Go get your eyes checked.
And then we'll go to episode 5. This is where we got to speak to Dennis Maranga. He's one of our brand ambassadors. It was a joy speaking to him, and we spoke about the work that he does in encouraging, especially immigrants, to be proactive about their health, even their eye health. And he spoke about his journey, finding out that he had an eye-related illness that was hereditary. And so, when we come back from break, we'll talk a little bit more about just how grave this is, right? The severity of getting our eyes checked, why it's so important, right? And what that looks like and how that impacts our communities. So yeah, we want to thank you first and foremost, Dennis, for showing up and showing out for our brand.
Yeah.
But we thank you so much for also bringing awareness to the issues, that the eye related issues, especially that come into our community, and that's why we call that episode Eye Health as well.
I think what was especially interesting about that episode, if I remember correctly, his mother did not know that she had the condition, right?
I had no idea. Yeah.
It was only until he got checked out that they were like, yeah, this is a hereditary thing. So like it's probably passed down and it's probably expressed in either of
Right.
your parents, and his mom ended up having it. And that
Mhm.
that's a prime example of what happens, right? Like she
Right.
had just this is normal. This is just what this is
Right.
just my experience, right? And it
Right.
wasn't until he noticed it and he kind of like looked into it that he was able to help his mom kind of allow her to investigate her own symptoms.
Right. 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 And good for him for catching that, because now he's almost like stopped the generational cycle, right?
Yeah,
Because this
yeah.
could go on for generations and generations where people don't know, and they don't know to get checked, they don't know what the issues are. So we thank you again, Dennis Maranga. We know that you are, making strides in our community. And when we come back from break, we're going to kind of wrap all of this up and really speak about that importance of being proactive about your eye health. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Talk to you soon.
This podcast is sponsored by Nurilens, a handcrafted wooden eyewear company. We offer a number of vision and eyewear solutions, whether non-prescription or prescription. Nurilens combines style, performance, and sustainability by creating an experience that encourages self-expression, impact, and improved vision health. Visit www.nurilens.co for more information.
All right, welcome back everyone to the Visionary Podcast. So where were we? I think we were discussing kind of the year in review, right, Juliette?
Yes, so we were able to go through some of the topics that we spoke about throughout the year up to this point. And of course, even though we only had 4 episodes for the season, we had an opportunity to connect with future Dr. Rebecca Mirville. We were able to connect with Dennis Moronga, and also touch on just different topics, especially that impact us as Black Afro-Caribbean individuals. And which brings us to our topic for the day, which is extremely critical. The month of August is National Eye Exam Month in the United States. And that's really important because a lot of the issues that exist in our communities are because we're not being proactive about getting our eyes checked.
Yeah.
And I know in the past we've spoken about the difference between an optician, an optometrist, and ophthalmologist. And so when you're looking at your optician and your optometrist, that's where they're checking your vision at a minimum, right? Checking your vision and getting you a prescription. What happens is when there are more pressing issues, right, that sometimes may require more treatment or surgery, that's where you get forwarded over to an ophthalmologist. And unfortunately, those issues that should be detected when we go to our optometrist can't be detected if we're not getting our eyes checked, right? And so, bro, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know there were some statistics that you pointed out that to me are like very, very significant and even, emphasize more the importance of us getting our eyes checked.
Yeah. So some statistics that I found, these are from the National Eye Institute, and these are fairly recent. More than 855,000 Black or African American people have diabetic retinopathy. And this number could be more than 1 million by 2030. So goodness. In comparison, if you look at other demographics, other groups of people, like we are, as Black and African American individuals, we are the largest proportion in a lot of cases. It also, Black African American people are higher risk for glaucoma at younger ages. We get glaucoma at younger ages, but we also have larger populations of people with glaucoma as well. So, and then nearly 190,000 Black or African American people have a visual impairment. And these are all from the National Eye Institute. This being August, National Eye Exam Month, it's important to go get checked out for these things because a lot of the times we don't realize that if we're not going consistently, we're not getting checked out as we should be. And then these issues progress and they get a lot worse. So yeah, that's something that we definitely wanted to highlight for the month of August, so that, people can go get their eyes checked, and you can go get your eyes checked too, Juliette, so.
Why you gotta expose me like that? We could have just peacefully encouraged the good people to get their eyes checked.
I'm just holding you accountable. I do need to get
you need to get your eyes checked with the dry eye that you emphasized in January.
Right. Speaking of,
and last month was Dry Eye Awareness Month.
Yeah, speaking of dry eye. So last month was Dry Eye Awareness Month. I have to go get checked out again. I do. I have been taking my drops. They've helped. Also, spending a lot of time in front of computers, so these glasses have helped as well. And usually I don't wear glasses. For these glasses, there's no prescription in them. So I'm not usually accustomed to having to wear glasses every day. But I've noticed the more I spend time in front of computers, the more headaches I get, the more I'm rubbing my eyes, the more I just don't want to stare at anything. I can't get work done. I just I lose a lot of focus. So the glasses have helped with that. They protect my eyes from the blue light, which I get exposed. I have I have 5 monitors here. So they add up, right? And we did release some things. So I wanted to talk to you about this. Do you know what the 20-20-20 rule is, Juliette?
Okay, don't quote me exactly, but I think it's every 20 minutes, you're supposed to turn your head and stare at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
That's it. Exactly. So what that
goodness.
That kind of helps you with is remembering to focus on things in the distance, right? You want to keep your eyes flexible. You want to keep that lens flexible. When you're staring at the computer all the time, or staring at your phone, or even reading a book, right? You're focused on something for a long period of time, and you kind of want to focus that flexibility. So that's why it's important to look at something 20 feet away. Hopefully it's not a screen 20 feet away, but still look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes, and that'll kind of help keep your eyes refreshed. Another thing that's important, and I've told you before, like you got to remember to blink. Okay, the glands. I'm always blinking. The glands in our eyes and our eyelids, they produce the oil. So on the bottom and at the top, they produce the oils that kind of keep our eyes moist. So whenever we blink, we're spreading those oils across the cornea, the surface of our eyes, and that's important to keep them refreshed. So a lot of people you'll see, they're like, yeah, I have dry eyes all the time. And they have, what are they, like the fake eyelashes, and they can't close their eyes fully. So because of the lashes. So like that middle portion of their eye, their central vision is not getting any oil to kind of keep the surface nice and moist. So just keep those things in mind.
And that's very, very interesting, because of course the beauty industry is a huge industry, especially in our communities, right? And I know there is a big emphasis. I know in the past it was mascara, right? And I've worn it before, and I don't wear makeup like that. So for me, I'm kind of like walking around with my eyes widened, because in a sense, like in the beginning, it feels a little sticky. And this is my experience. And, you know, with lashes, I tried them on literally for like 3 seconds, and they feel a little heavier. So I would imagine that's perhaps another thing that, you know, weighs on the inability to blink as much. And so, you know, people in the industry, that is, you know, something to consider, how innovation can be used where, okay, women are able to get their lashes, but it's not something that prevents them from blinking the same way they need to, which is interesting, because I had a conversation with someone this week, and it was about pacifiers and babies, right? And they mentioned that children sometimes may experience speech delays because when they use pacifiers, and that's because pacifier inhibits them from exercising their mouth muscles. So in the same sense, you know, when our faces are glued to a screen, right? You're under your covers. I know last season we spoke, we read a Nuri letter, right? F from the, what was it, from the DMV, I believe. And F mentioned how, you know, he would have his, what is the Buzz Lightyear toy? And, you know, he's reading his book. But again, in the same sense, when you're glued to a screen and it's really good and the movie's good or the book is good, you kind of want to like zero in and focus. And so you're not exercising those muscles as much as you should. And then again, that would lead to dry eye. I think even for professionals, you said we both have 5 screens, right? And, you know, I'm very guilty of not wanting to close my 500 tabs, right? And I'm sure there are some people in the atmosphere who are just like me. But again, it's like, sometimes our brains are wide awake in the evening time, right? What I learned about even like blue light, from computers is the reason why they exist in computers is so that they can keep us awake in the daytime when we should be using them. But what happens when you're pulling an all-nighter for school? What happens when you're preparing that report for work, right? That eventually also wears on, you know, the muscles in your eyes, and it inhibits you again from exercising it, thus lending to dry eye. But again, you know, if we even circle it back to National Eye Awareness Month, it's important for you to be having those conversations and identifying those symptoms with your optometrist so that you can stay ahead of it before it becomes, you know, a critical issue.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. The pacifier, I think, sheds light on the similar to like the mascara thing, right? Like you don't want to be in a space where like you're inhibiting the natural function of your body, right? So not saying you can't use a pacifier or you can't use mascara, but be mindful, like if you are dealing with dry eye issues, that like it can be a result of maybe I don't need the mascara today, and I'm just going to be mindful if I do have the mascara to make sure I'm closing my eyes fully, make sure I bring my drops with me when I need them. Contact lens wearers suffer from dry eye a lot of the time. If they leave their contacts in for too long. If you do wear contacts, it's important to keep drops with you. It's important to keep the contact hydrated, because it can kind of be a way to dry out your eye as well. So all these things.
Right. So let me ask you this, now that we're on the topic of dry eye, and I know that, you know, there are official eye drops that you can use to combat dry eye. But I know growing up, when you felt like you were experiencing, you know, some dryness in your eye, even as a kid, they always said, get an ice cube and like rub the ice cube so that it can get moist, and then let the ice cube, the water droplets, fall into your eye as an alternative. Is this a safe approach?
I've never heard of this method. Okay, so there's kind of a little confusion about dry eye, right? What keeps our eyes moist are oils. Okay. Similar to when you're cooking, right? Oils, water, they don't mix.
Right.
They don't mix. So what happens is you'll notice people that tear a lot, right? Like they're tearing, not because they're sad, but their eyes produce a lot of tears.
Right.
That's because that's their body's way of trying to combat the lack of oils available. So if you're not producing oils in your glands, your tear ducts will produce tears to try to combat that. Now, that's not going to be able to sustain the moisture that oils from your meibomian glands will be able to do. So in reality, the water aspect, I don't think that's the ice cube. I don't think that's the best method. You're kind of just going to be, it's going to be like a short-term solution. You know what I'm saying? It may help clear your for a moment, but like realistically, you want to increase the omega-6s in your body and help get those oils there. Water is not really what you want for your cornea.
So last season we said no squeezing lemon or lime.
Yeah.
This season our takeaway is no water. Your eyes actually need the natural oils. Interesting. Okay, well, our two takeaways then as we close out the season is, first and foremost, make sure you blink. 20-20-20, you know, every 20 minutes, turn your eyes, try to find something that's 20 feet away or somewhere around that vicinity, and look at that for 20 seconds. And I think this applies to us too, because we are constantly glued to some kind of screen. And lastly, we, more than anything, got to get our eyes checked. So when we start season 3, we're going to run a poll. And we want to know that you got your eyes checked. That's all of our New Year's resolutions from January. We need to get our eyes checked, okay? It's important for us, especially in our community. In season 3, we are so looking forward to connecting with you. We want to bring more visionaries on the podcast. We want to share more Nuri letters with you. But we also want to speak about some different issues, challenges that occur as it relates to representation in the field. What barriers do Black, eye health and eyewear practitioners face in trying to break into the profession? So we want to have those conversations. We also want to go beyond simply the, immediate eye health conversations, but we want to connect with different people in the field to see, different people in different occupations and different industries to see how work ties into the eyes and how their work ties into eye health. And I'll pass it over to our optical director extraordinaire to close us out with some final thoughts.
Well, thank you guys for staying with us, staying the course. I hope you enjoyed this season of the Visionary Podcast. We got some more exciting things to come for season 3 with the Visionary Podcast, but also with Nuri Lens. So stick along, watch the journey, participate in the journey, and remember to take care of your eyes and always see through the lens of your purpose. All right, bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you again for tuning into the Visionary Podcast. We hope that you receive some nuggets that will help you make better decisions about your eye health. Anything we've discussed in this episode should not be taken as medical advice. If you have any questions or concerns about your own personal health, please reach out to your doctor.
If you like what you've heard, feel free to leave us a review with your feedback. Also, feel free to visit our website at www.nurilens.co for your next pair of frames.
We offer non-prescription and prescription options with different features to fit your style and vision needs. Enjoy 20% off your purchase with the code VISIONARY20 today.
Remember to see through the lens of your purpose, and we look forward to chatting with you next time.